Ladies and gentlemen, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is sparking a lot of outrage. We'll get into that, as well as some Shallot news with Sparking Zero and Dragon Ball Legends, and some other stuff, and talking about what TOYOTARO and Torishima could be talking about next week. All this and more in this week's Dragon Ball Weekly News Update. First off, let's start with the Dragon Ball Sparking Zero controversy. DB Game News went ahead and uploaded this tweet, taking a screenshot from the website, going over the new changes that came to Dragon Ball Sparking Zero with the Shallot update, and it is controversial, so I'll just go ahead and read off. DP battles: adjusted DP battles in all modes to make the difference in strength due to DP disparity between characters more pronounced. That's kind of crazy, but not too crazy in my opinion. Single battles: remove the damage scaling based on DP in single battles in all modes. Again, I don't think that's anything too crazy, but the thing that I think a lot of people are gravitating toward is adjusted health value so that all characters have the same health. So in case you forgot, whenever they were advertising this game and bringing it out and they got questions about the competitiveness of the online nature, they said that the characters would literally not be balanced, for the simple reason that this is a Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi game or a Dragon Ball Sparking game. And those games always featured lore accurate characters. You're not going to be able to play as early Goku fighting Master Ultra Instinct Goku and have them be necessarily balanced. If you're good enough and the Mastered Ultra Instinct player is bad enough, then maybe you would be able to win. But it wasn't the fact, it was like they weren't trying to balance the game and make it completely balanced and fair like Dragon Ball FighterZ, for example. And they were saying that they're going to stay true to the spirit of Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi and not have it be like a balanced game. They're going to make it fun. There's going to be a disparity between the characters, but giving everybody the same health kind of eliminates some of that. And so some fans are rightfully angry. I understand why. I'm kind of mixed. I understand wanting to make the game balanced, but like I said, it kind of defeats the purpose and everything that they talked about. Now, that's insane. But another thing that people are talking about is Charlotte in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. He's got some nice voice line interactions with other characters. Like, for example, if you did play Dragon Ball Legends at least for a little bit, you would know that in the game he becomes a student of Nappa and Vegeta, and in the game he actually has interactions with Nappa and Vegeta, talking about them as his master, things like that. But I do think that people speculate and probably confirm that Shallot was kind of rushed as a last-minute character. I could not find the Kagi Films tweet where he talked about this, so I think it might have been taken down or deleted since then. If I do find it, I will post it on screen, but if I don't, just assume that he deleted it. But I specifically remember Kagi Films, who is, of course, the voice actor of Shallot, posting that he did not expect this to basically come out so quickly or something like that. So the implication was that he recorded this very recently. So I think the idea is that Shallot is kind of rushed out, and you can tell that because he doesn't have any transformations like Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan God, or Super Saiyan Blue, even though he has those transformations in Dragon Ball Legends. Do you feel like he was too rushed? Because there are people talking about the pricing. So if you did not get the season pass, Shallot is $3. I don't think $3 for Shallot is crazy, but I do wish he would have been $3 with his transformations. Just having base Shallot without any transformations, I understand why some fans are a bit upset at that price. Globku went ahead and did the math about the season pass and the character expansion packs and things like that, and he came to the conclusion that Shallot is 2 times more expensive than Beast Gohan, because if you look at the pricing in the Beast Gohan DLC pack and you look at the pricing of Shallot, you understand that there is a bit of a price disparity, and that is a very interesting point to make. So Shallot is literally more expensive than Beast Gohan if you do the math, but if you get the season pass, you basically got Shallot for free as an extra bonus character. So you should have got the season pass. If you didn't, you will have to shell out $3 for Shallot. I think I did play with Shallot some. He is fun in this game, I won't lie, but I do think that they did rush him. And I guess technically the cover is that this is Shallot from an earlier point in the Dragon Ball Legends story, which could make sense, of course, because he does talk about how you lost his memories and things like that recently. But that could also just be a cover for them having to develop him so close to release. And they were like, well, let's just go ahead and make it Shallot from earlier in the story. That way we don't have to develop him and all of his forms. That, of course, is mainly speculation on my end, but it does point... evidence points to him being rushed, but that's okay. I mean, I'm not too angry about that. like some people are. I think the thing that people are mainly angry about in this latest update is the fact that the health is balanced even when it should not be, in their opinion. Next, let's talk about Dragon Ball Legends. They're doing this thing in the story where basically Charlotte has basically reversed back in time to now he's having to basically access his forms again and work through his evolution. And Charlotte, in this screenshot posted by Blue God Online to the Dragon Ball Legends Twitter community, he was playing through the story mode, and he just went ahead and included the screenshot of Charlotte saying that Super Saiyan 2 is the highest he should go, or can go. And then Blue God Online speculates we are definitely getting Super Saiyan 4 Charlotte by the end of this, and that would make sense because if Charlotte lost access to Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue, and he has to work through his evolution again, then it would make sense that Charlotte would get access to Super Saiyan 4 because that is the only transformation for his Super Saiyan that he is lacking. And if Charlotte is basically our character, and he basically is adaptable, and he gets all his Super Saiyan transformations, I think it's time for him to get Super Saiyan 4, especially with the Super Saiyan 4 hype that Dragon Ball Daima reintroduced. I think it's only natural. I do think that Charlotte will get Super Saiyan 4, just like Blue God Online says. The evidence is there. I would say this is a bit of a tease. I think it's moving in that direction. So if you are a Dragon Ball Legends player, I don't think it's impossible. It's not a necessarily guaranteed thing, but it's on the cards. Let's get into the Dragon Ball Super Divers video game, which is of course exclusive to Japan, so we won't spend too much time on this because I understand my audience is not a necessarily heavy Japanese audience, but this is interesting enough that I figured I would include it. Dragon Ball Super Divers is getting their Super Saiyan 4 Goku Daima finally. Interestingly enough, it is adult Super Saiyan 4 Goku, so I don't think that they're too interested overseas in the Goku Mini. Although I do think that they do have a Goku Mini in Dragon Ball Super Divers. But still yet, it's interesting that they're getting adult Goku. I do wish that we get some more Dragon Ball Daima content in games like Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, for example. I hope it just doesn't end with Goku and Vegeta. I hope we get more transformations with them and things like that. But it's exciting nonetheless just to see a new character model for Dragon Ball Super Divers Goku. Next, we have an interview between TOYOTARO and the guy doing the new Dragon Ball figure with Goku and Gohan for the Dragon Ball Super anniversary. It's a big interview and they talk about a lot, but the thing I wanted to mainly talk about is the future figures they want to see. The question was about what figures they want to see in the future. Varrock says if we're talking about characters that TOYOTARO Sensei has drawn, I'd like to make figures of Granola and Moro. They both have unique designs that haven't been seen before, so I want to make them from scratch. TOYOTARO says, I'm very happy. I hope the day will come when you make them. So that is very interesting because many people know that they don't make the figures from the Dragon Ball Super manga for some strange reason. It's always the characters from the anime, and for some reason the characters from the manga are off limits. So I do think it's interesting that TOYOTARO is directly commenting on that and saying that he hopes they could be made one day. So maybe this is a hint that they could be coming, but I don't think so. I think this is just the two of them speculating about what they would like to see in the future. But it is interesting that even the creatives in that whole sphere are also wondering why we can't have Moro and Granola as figures already. Like, hello. Anyways, guys, next week we are getting the panel at the Japan Expo 2025 in Paris with TOYOTARO and Torishima. I will definitely be covering it. I don't expect there to be any official confirmation of the Dragon Ball Super manga returning. I think they would save that for an official Jump panel or an event. However, I do think that we'll get some interesting behind-the-scene tidbits, maybe some information about where TOYOTARO's head is at. Maybe Torishima will talk about some new things that he's never talked about with Toriyama before. So that's all very interesting. I'm looking forward to that. If you enjoyed this weekly Dragon Ball video, guys, make sure you leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to keep up to date with all things Dragon Ball news and commentary. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace off.